let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go.
Six.
It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
It's a new way to listen to the radio. Welcome to the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along on a Friday. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching it right now on YouTube. If you're not watching it on YouTube, always go find our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, leave a comment, and also set those notifications up. You can follow us on X, like our Facebook page, and of course, follow us on Instagram. I'm Travis Justice. He is Ross Peterson. Hello, Roscoe.
What's up, buddy? How's your Friday?
You know what I've done all day this morning? All day. I've been up for a couple hours. But what I've done, I've been on the Willis Automotive website and going through some used cars that they have at Willis Auto. And I've been looking at four-door Jeeps. Been looking at the four-door Jeeps. I've always wanted a Jeep, and you've kind of, got me in that Jeep mood because I knew you used to have one. But they've got a couple nice used Jeeps. I'm not a new car buyer. Never have been a new car buyer. I think in my lifetime, I've owned 3 new cars, and 2 of them have been leases. And nothing wrong with the lease, but I've been more of a used car guy. I like it broken in a little bit. But yeah, the four-door Jeeps, I've been on the Willis Auto site looking at them going, oh, yeah.
Dude, it took me a while to come around on them, okay? Because at first I had an old box Jeep, you know what I mean? I had a 1989 Jeep Wrangler. So that thing was as Jeep comes. Not quite. I shouldn't say that because Jeep enthusiasts would go, no, it's not. No, that was pretty modern compared to like a Willie or a CJ7 or something like that. But I had a Wrangler, and I loved that vehicle. Is an understatement. That I did. I went everywhere.
Did you have a hard top or a soft top?
I had a soft top that was rarely on, rarely up. I kept ponchos under the seats. Had my dog with me most of the time during that time. I had my best friend he and I figured out how to take the gear shifter off, and we put a real baseball on the gear shifter. So when I shifted, I was holding on to a baseball. I go 2-seam, 4-seam.
Fastball, curveball. Let's throw a knuckleball as I'm shifting into 5th gear.
Yeah, loved that thing.
Yeah, but they've got like a loaded 2014. I know that's a little older, but it's pretty low miles for a 14. And you know what my downside is? It's an automatic. I want a stick. I want a stick, but it's going to be harder and harder to find a stick.
Remember when we talked to Jason last week?
Yeah.
He said you can get them. It's rare. It's a pretty rare thing anymore. Even Trav, remember we got to talking about semis very early on in the show when we started. We were talking about driving semis. And one of our listeners emailed me a picture on Ross at the Rush Radio that said, here's how I shift my semi. And dude, it's push button.
That's crazy. Because I remember my dad, when he was driving truck, I would sit there and try to figure out, okay, how do I do this, right? I mean, and there'd be a little lever on it, and he'd always flip it up, so it'd go to a completely different gear. But yeah, I'm just looking for a basic 5-speed. But it's hard, especially in the 4-door editions. It's really hard to find, really, because these things are. It's not your typical Jeep anymore. These are almost luxury vehicles.
That's what I was getting at. Like those 4-door Jeeps took me a while, but now I love them. I see them, I'm like, oh, that's someday.
Yeah, someday. But I did a nice little search on the Willis Auto website. Just put in Jeep, brought up all the Jeeps that they have, and got a good look at them. And I'm like, good price.
So my cousin has one of them that has the bed in the back as well.
Oh, like the pickup version?
You got like a little. It's got like a little pickup
Yes.
version bed in the back.
Yeah.
She brought that up to the lake when we went camping last summer, and that going back and forth from the cabin to the lake with 15 kids, it felt like 1985 again.
Brings back memories, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, here we go. I can't imagine
You
if
brought
I
back memories bringing up the Jeep. I'll tell you that.
if I went to my wife and said, "Hey, we're gonna get a Jeep," and she'd be like, "You're buying another car?" I have 3. I technically own like 5 cars, right? 5 or 6 cars. I'm paying way too much. I own a tour van, technically. I own Owen's pickup, technically, because I'm paying the insurance on it. I own Mary's Fiat. I own a Pathfinder. I own a Expedition XL, and I have a Chevy Impala. Just everything I need, So now, why not just add a Jeep to the collection?
Wait, you when I told you that my dad had the Dale Earnhardt black and red Chevy Lumina,
Yeah,
you said Chevy Lumina, worst car ever made.
I didn't. It was just mass-produced, much like the Impala. And the reason I have the
Impala, didn't they just stop calling it the Lumina and start calling it the Impala?
Remember that is a work car. That was provided to me that I'm now purchasing. So because I'm getting a pretty good deal on that.
Rebranding works. Rebranding does work.
It does.
Changing the name and offering the same crappy product, it works.
I like my Impala.
I worked at a company that did it.
I like my Impala, man. But there's something about a car, much like a house, right? When you get the itch, you're ready to go.
Yeah. Well, I think I was talking to a buyer last night, Trav, and maybe this gets me. I talked to 3 yesterday. 2 of them were for this really fun project. But I tell people a lot, and I'm a man of faith, but I do believe it. You're gonna like a car, you're gonna feel it. I'm not gonna sell you on a house. I'm not gonna walk in and go, "Whoa, you're not gonna believe the layout of this kitchen."
If I had a real estate agent that did that, I think I would just walk out on them.
You know what? I'm renting forever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to diminish what you do, but really, when it comes to selling houses, you're there to unlock the lockbox to see if you like. Yes,
I'm a facilitator, and then to give you advice on this. Hey, I have helped a lot of people through this process, so I'm going to help you with my advice on what I think the best thing for you to do is, and to get through this thing, and get to closing day like I'm having today. Okay, so like a car, you're going to know, like you're going to sit down in it and go. That's how it's always been for me. Sit down in a car, you're on a test drive or something, and it hits you, and you go. Your elbow rests on something. You settle in just right. You go, yeah, I could see myself driving to work every day in this thing. I could see myself making road trips in this thing. All right, let's go.
Here's what I'm worried about the Jeep, right? In that I've never, ever driven a Jeep. I've never driven a Jeep Wrangler, okay? I'm worried that I like the way it looks, but I won't like the way it rides. And because everybody tells me, well, it's a pretty rough ride. Even the new ones are pretty rough rides.
This is where you need my buddy Carlstead, one of my best friends, kid I went to high school with. We go fishing in Canada every year together. He's been fishing with me every year for whatever it is, a decade or more now. When I'm in these situations, I call Ryan, right? Or my other buddy was Tony, right? We used to talk about my buddy Tony a lot. But I call Ryan and I go, hey, why does this Jeep, I love this Jeep, but it does feel more like a tank. It's it feels more utilitarian. What am I experiencing here? And he'll go, oh, well, that's called the drivetrain, or that's the chassis. And then all of a sudden I turn into remember Days of Thunder?
Oh yeah.
I think I become Cole Trickle. I'm like,
I thought you were
gonna know how to drive it.
I thought you were gonna say that Nicole Kidman pulled you over in a cop outfit and tried to strip search you.
So speaking of Carlstead, we are up there. And we're up fishing. It's me, Carlstead, and Dusty. Have I told you this story?
No, I've never heard this story.
Oh. Me, Carlstead, and Dusty are fishing. We're all by ourselves in the Canadian wilderness. Nobody's around. And we see this boat kind of come around this island, and it's coming towards us. One of my buddies is like, hey, there's another fisherman. They're coming right at us. That's one person. That's a Mountie. That's a
Ooh.
Canadian DNR thing, right?
Do they got the red coat on and the big brimmed hat?
It was like I don't remember. I think they had the hat on. I don't remember. Ryan and Dustin remember. Here's what I do remember. She was a 10.
You're thinking, Nicole Kidman's on her way. Here comes Nicole Kidman.
All three of us went into that mode. All three of us were like, you sons of bitches set this up, didn't you? Oh, man.
We're going to get strip searched by a good-looking Mountie.
No, she just wanted to make sure we had our fishing license. Counterfish. Turned out she didn't want us.
She didn't want you?
She turned out she didn't think we were anything special.
How disappointing. Like,
Yeah.
aren't you going to like go down my pants?
But also very typical and usual.
Yeah. It's yeah. The unusual would have been, okay, I need you guys to de-pants, please. I need to size you all up.
2 more boats come around the corner.
Is Days of Thunder a good movie?
I mean, I want to say yeah, but the fact that you're asking the question makes me want to answer it different.
Okay, let me ask it in a different way.
Okay.
I have 2 NASCAR movies in front of you. I'm going to put Talladega Nights and I'm going to put Days of Thunder. Which one are you going to watch?
I'm watching Talladega Nights all night, but that's not fair. They're not the same type of movie. That's like saying, hey, you got a couple of hours. Do you want to watch Apocalypse Now or Tropic Thunder?
Oh, I'm watching Tropic Thunder.
See? I mean, who wouldn't want to just, I'll be entertained rather than. I mean, is Days of Thunder a good movie, though? Yeah, right?
It's a good movie. It's not a great movie, but it's not one that I would sit there and go, it's not one that stops me on the remote control. You know, when you're flipping the TV, like every time I come by The Godfather, I'm stopping. Forrest Gump, I'm stopping. Castaway, I'm stopping. There's some I'm just going to stop all the time. Days of Thunder, not going to stop for Days of Thunder. I'll stop for Talladega Nights. I'll stop for Tropic Thunder. I'll stop a little bit for Apocalypse Now, but that's a depressing movie. That's a really depressing movie.
That's hardcore.
It is hardcore. So, yeah. But, oh, by the way, Canada beat USA last night in what was a great night for hockey. You could not have asked for a better night of hockey. I'm disappointed Team USA got beat, but what a night for the sport of hockey. And I will be
honest, there was a part of me at the very beginning that was like, all right, let's throw down. And I want to say, I'm not that I was disappointed, but I'm just being completely honest here, that I did have a moment last night of like, oh, I thought we were fighting again.
When are we going to go fisticuffs?
All right, let's watch them play hockey. Yeah, back and forth game, fun game.
The Kachuk brothers are the Hanson brothers.
Yeah, right. The broadcast was great. I thought it was fun.
Well, and you know why it was fun? And I actually have this written down. Sean McDonough is so talented. He is so versatile. I like listening to Sean McDonough do football. I like him in baseball, but hockey is his forte. You listen to Sean McDonough call hockey, and you're like into the game, right? And
I think that's something with this big. Again, man, we talked about it the last week or Monday. There's something about that high level hockey that does that. It gets you so engaged, like you just, especially when it is a 1-goal game the entire time, either tied, 1-goal game, tied, one right back and forth like that. Every time there's a break, every time that puck goes loose. And in fact, when you're, to me, as an idiot watching the game, something that gets my attention, makes my, not anxiety, but like my interest level spike. The crowd, Travis, they know, they're so smart. The crowd is so smart that you hear the puck is just starting to make its way towards the center line, and you hear this, oh. Like,
I don't think
okay, I better pay attention because something's happening.
I don't think in any other sport you can feel it in the crowd as much as you do hockey, right? Yeah. And I was reminded of something last night as we were watching. My wife actually sat down and watched a little bit of the game with me. And I keep forgetting how different hockey is in person as it is on television. She goes, because I'm trying to talk to her about it, and she's like, it's kind of hard to follow on television because the puck moves so fast. Even the cameras have a hard time like keeping up where the puck is. And there is a completely different fan experience of being in the arena as to opposed to watching it on TV. Now, last night on TV, you could hear the crowd the whole time. So I think that helped a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
That you could hear the crowd. But, man, I was disappointed Team USA lost, but you sit there and go, this is what the sport needed. And I know they talked about it in intermission. I think Sean McDonough and who he was doing the game with talked about how the NHL did not even anticipate this Four Nations face-off being as big as it was. I mean, I think they thought, well, this is a nice little, mid-season tournament, have a little bit of fun, hope to grow it at an international level, and it just took off to a completely different level than they thought it was going to be.
Did you see that the president did call the hockey team?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. You know what else Canada won on? And I hate to say this. The sweaters they were wearing last night were awesome, right? I don't know if I'm into the jersey game a little bit.
Are you really?
I'm into the sports fashion. I am. Okay. And it was kind of a classic sweater where you're kind of like, oh, those are really good uniforms. I really like those.
I didn't wear a jersey today because it's still negative degrees in my studio. Yeah. But I did wear your favorite hoodie that is officially over 10 years old.
Wow, the 2014 Kansas City World Series hoodie.
It's just in such great.
Look at that. Look at that. It looks like it's never been worn.
But for some reason, when I stand like this, I look like a.
And it's hanging off you like it's like 3 sizes too big.
I thought it looked good. I thought it was a good fit.
Do you wash that very often? And I don't mean that in a negative way because it looks brand new. It looks like it's never been worn.
It gets worn a lot, and it gets washed every time it gets worn.
I mean, what'd you pay for that? Like $90?
Yeah, I think it was 80. 10 years ago, which that's pre-real estate, Ross. $80 was a lot of money. $80 had to fit into the budget.
And hoodies are one of those things where you can either hit the gold mine or go broke real quick. Because I've bought hoodies where they just fall apart right away. Yeah. They're not very thick. They're
the
thin.
Key to a good hoodie in my mind. Okay. Like, if I'm going to keep a hoodie for a long time, I'm going to want it to be, I probably won't be able to do this with my headphones. This thing, I can, cover my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's an airport hoodie.
An airport hoodie. I've never heard that term before, but I get it now because you're like, you can cover your eyes so people don't bother you.
Right.
It's an airport or even airplane hoodie.
Both. Because when you're at the airport, you're there for an airplane.
Yeah.
But I guess in order to get on an airplane, you have to go to an airport.
Good point.
Chicken or egg
Good point.
Situation here.
Good point. Do you think fans, and I was thinking about this as I'm watching the game last night, because I don't know if I'm going to turn around and watch NHL hockey until the Stanley Cup playoffs, probably the Stanley Cup finals. Do we in basketball, international competition is okay. The Olympics are what they are. But in hockey, for some reason, and maybe that's still for those of us that are old enough to remember the 1980 game, the international aspect of what we watched last night was awesome. But was it what created that series to be better? Was it the hockey, or was it the tension between President Trump, Justin Trudeau, who afterwards trolled him a little bit, says you can't take our country and you can't take our game?
I don't think the political thing has. Again, I love these conversations, Trav, because I think of it as a soup. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's got to get in there in order to make it right. Because I think that a part of you're absolutely right. Like the international competition on its surface, it's not like, well, anytime it's the flag. No, USA Basketball plays Pan American, and we don't give a crap about it.
Yeah.
There are international competitions that happen all the time in track and field. Nobody cares. What about this? What about this moment? Because you're right. The NHL did not plan this thing thinking, all right, let's see. Here we go. Throw some stuff together. Make it. This is like, we're going to make it go viral. You don't get to make things go viral.
Well, I think the viral part was, I don't even think this would have taken off the way it did unless the Canadians in Montreal wouldn't have booed the
Again,
national anthem.
That's a big part of the recipe there. That's a big part of it. That's what stirred it here, at least in my circles, was like, hey, these guys, did you see what they did? And by the way, they've got the greatest roster ever assembled ever. Not like the best players right now. This is the best roster of all time. Going into the game last night, they even said, this might be the greatest hockey game of all time. You don't have any second-line guys here. One of the lines for Canada, we talked about this on Monday, is not it's not even Hall of Fame. It's Hall of All Time. It is some of the greatest players of all time on skates out there together. And Justin Trudeau, you guys lost at home with that roster. Sit and spin, dude. So that's what it's all of these things I think that combine, Travis. The first thing that went to my mind as you were talking about it, 1980 the Miracle on Ice goes through my head. Again, dude, they brought Eruzione back out last night.
Yeah, and he was pumping up the crowd.
Yeah, the two people that they had side by side. They bring out Wayne Gretzky to represent Canadian hockey. The greatest of all time. Here's the Canadian. Here's a dude that won a game. Here's a guy.
Because Eruzione wasn't an NHL star. I don't even know if he played in the NHL.
I think he's one of the few that got that played for had a cup of tea and did some time there.
But I mean, it wasn't significant.
Exactly. He's famous for one game. So that's my first thought was, well, if it weren't for 1980, last night wouldn't have meant very much. Now it's a part of it, but I think it's a small part of it. And then you'd have to dissect that. Why was 1980 such a big thing? I was 2. I can't.
Because they beat the Russians, which didn't play in the NHL at the time, and you're talking they were playing grown men, basically playing an NHL team. You had college kids when amateurism was still amateurism.
And you'd have to break that down to figure out the soup of that moment, to figure out why that became such a moment. But as soon as international hockey, the first thing that goes to most people's mind is going to be Miracle on Ice. And so I think it's all of these things that you were talking about. But I think the biggest one you nailed is if they hadn't booed the national anthem, I might not have even known that this thing was happening.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you're inviting us to the fight. It's like we're all going to jump in and we're going to root against Canada. I have nothing against Canada, but you boo us and you're in Montreal and you're French Canadian. I'm like, yeah, okay, here we go. All right.
I think we're going to have a couple of I saw the list today of the topics you want to get to, and we're going to have a couple conversations that are going to revolve around this. You don't have to like everybody.
You don't.
And you don't have to like everything. I've been to Canada. It's like Wisconsin. I'm not being mean. It's cool.
No.
It's great. It's got a lot of lakes. It's a wonderful outdoorsy place. Like, know your role, man.
JB says, hockey is physical. We want to see USA slam a Canadian into the boards, which Tkachuk did last night. Got a good hit before the end of the first period. And hopefully score more goals, too. We like the physicality and the fights. But last night was something different. I'm interested to see what the ratings were for last night's hockey game and how many people watched. If they topped over 5 million, over 6 million, that's a pretty darn good night for hockey.
I mean, Trav, I don't care what the number is. It was a win for hockey.
It was.
This is that conversation like who won the Daytona 500? Donald Trump.
He did.
It can piss you off. I mean, what was the storyline? And that's the same thing with last night. Who won the game? Hockey. No, they weren't. That's not the right answer. They weren't in the competition. No, hockey won. Hockey won. Didn't matter what the outcome of that game was. It would have mattered, Travis. It could have hurt. Not hurt. It could have hurt. I don't mean that. It could have watered down the impact that was happening from this Four Nations had Canada blown out the U.S. If it had been an 8-1 game last night, it would have been, by the way, let's forget about it.
Because hockey won because it went to overtime.
Hockey won because it was a great game.
Yes.
And
it was,
had your attention, kept it. It felt like a Game 7 of the Stanley Cup last night. The arena, the presentation, all of it.
Cole says, I enjoyed it for the most part until it was past my bedtime and then took 15-minute break before overtime. That was the problem, right? Because it was supposed to start at 7. Really didn't start till 7:20. First period gets over, right around 8:15, and then you got a 20-minute break there. You're like, oh, am I going to make it?
Trav, I literally watched the game in 3 different places last night. I was meeting with a buyer up at Agency, Iowa. We hit some golf balls in the simulator while we looked at houses. That was a fun experience. And the game and had the game on in the room. Then Courtney and I went to Wasabi up there and ate by the office, and then came home and watched the third period here. That's a long. The game was 3 different places.
I was reminded of nice big arenas, how great a production value it can be as well. And we talk about the fan experience, and you want an experience when you go to a game. You even kind of captured the experience by watching it on television last night with the projections down to the ice. Whether it was just all the colors, all the graphics that you can do. It's really, really cool. I mean, I watched it, again, wanting Team USA to win, but just kind of went, okay, I can get into this and enjoy it as a fan and appreciate every little bit of it.
This is going to be a weird veer here, but have you ever seen Disney on Ice?
I've never seen Disney on Ice. I know you're a regular each and every year to Disney on Ice. You take the kids.
Yeah, it's a family tradition, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be a figure skating fan at all. It's kind of like the volleyball conversation we had yesterday. If you watch that, you're going to walk out of there and go, holy shit. These people are freak athletes. They're crazy athletes. There's a part of me that watches hockey and does that too. Like, I can't skate. And these dudes are skating at 38 miles an hour, slamming into each other, handling a puck that, as a lot of people are saying in the chat, if you're not around that game, if you didn't grow up around hockey, it's hard to follow the puck. It's hard to see the puck. And this is I have a buddy, Rob Rose, who's from Canada, grew up playing hockey, and then didn't really see much American football until he came to Iowa State to study computers. He has a hard time with play action. He can't follow the football if he can't see the. I know, and that was a moment for me when we had this conversation one time, and he was like, "Man, I hate when they run play action because I get confused. I lose the ball, and then my brain just goes up. Don't know what's happening." And I was like, "Yeah. That's me in hockey. That's me in hockey. I have to watch the players to figure out what's actually going on because I have no idea where the puck is." And he kind of laughed at that. He's like, well, I always know where the puck is because he grew up around hockey. If you didn't grow up with it, it's very easy to have that thing. I saw a couple other people comment that, said, man, I watched last night. I loved it. I don't know where the puck is.
Well, let's look at the first Canadian goal, right? I mean, was that McDavid who got the first Canadian goal? Who it went through so much traffic. You're like, I didn't see that go in the net. And it took like on the 4th replay of the 8th different camera angles, you go, oh, that's how it got through that group. And then the first American goal where Tkachuk, he was like right in front of the net, and you're like, I didn't even see him shoot it, right? You're like, I couldn't see it.
Canada almost scored another time where, again, the puck gets dumped in, and then all of a sudden it's like a scramble. Yeah, and the goalie's just basically got his legs spladled out, and he's trying to be a pancake in front of the goal, and everybody's just slapping at it. And then finally they blow the whistles, and then they have to show the replay, and you're like, where was the puck? What are they all swinging at? And you see it in there. And they all see it. They all there. Yeah, every eye on the ice is on that puck, and
it's like the goalie's a piñata. You're like, just keep hitting him with the stick. Keep hitting him with the stick. But you know what? The timing of that game was perfect because you don't have any NFL going on, no college football going on. College basketball is going on, but you're still a couple weeks away from the NCAA tournament. That was the perfect placement for that game last night. And the truth is, I would rather watch that than an all-star game any day. And they've talked about the NBA all-star game being basically Team USA versus and a
Team
group of
World.
international. So maybe that would be better. But if I'm going to see an NBA in-season tournament, maybe I'd like an international flair to it.
How about we get the guys to play all the games?
That's
and then
fair.
we start worrying about exhibitions.
That's fair.
I get rid of the NBA All-Star Game.
100%.
Did you see the guys that were in the slam dunk contest this year, Travis?
I didn't know there was a slam dunk contest.
There was. You know who won it?
No,
The
no
same
clue.
Dude, the same dude that's won it the last couple of years, and he is in the G League. He doesn't even play in the NBA.
Yeah, that's not good for the NBA. Not good at all. But, Caitlin Clark ruined the
Caitlin
NBA.
Clark ruined it. You
Yeah,
can't
ruined.
name a participant in any of the NBA events. I mean, again, the one guy you can name isn't actually in the league. They have to bring him up from the minor leagues to do his one trick that he can do, which is dunk like crazy. He is worth seeing. I don't want to downplay it. Mac McClung is incredible. Have you ever seen him, Trav? I mean, he's
No.
not, dude. He's like a 6'2" white kid. He can leap out of the gym. He's been a YouTube and internet sensation for a decade because he was like 15, 16 years old doing windmill dunks on people in college, okay? He's incredible. He had a dunk, as Tyler puts in the chat. He did have a dunk on where he jumped over a Kia, a full car, drove out onto the court. He leaps over it. A dude holds a ball out of the sunroof. He flies over it, grabs the ball from the dude, and dunks it. It's pretty sweet. He's a G League guy.
Yeah, what you want in an all-star game and stuff like that are your stars who participating in. You want your bench
Travis,
best dunkers.
You could argue it's one of the things, again, in the soup, it's one of the big pieces of the recipe that made Michael Jordan.
Yes.
And
100%.
And you can't name. I looked at the names of the guys that were in the competition. I don't even know. I didn't know any of them.
515-517-2303. You can call the show, have a conversation with us. You can also hop in on the chat, and you can follow us on X at Rush Mornings. We'll take a break, come back, move on to some baseball. Yes, baseball is underway in the Cactus League. So spring training is underway, and Ross is in this mood by wearing his World Series hoodie. It is the Rush Radio Show.
You ever been down to spring training?
I have. Yes. That's where I met
Look at that.
Bob
He's
Uecker.
done so many things he almost forgot. Did you see that, folks?
It was like 1991, 1992. I was at spring training, Brewers spring training, covering it. It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
Doug Burgess, Service Manager here at Willis Infinity. As we move into 2025, I want to say one final thank you for what 2024 has brought to us. Getting the opportunity to meet many of your customers, and for you, voting us the #1 Google-ranked dealership in the Midwest. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And to know why, and to have that Willis experience yourself, stop on in or go online to make your appointment at willisinfinity.com.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig, Plantation Rum,
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
and a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's Valentine's month and sweet deals are in the air. Hi, I'm Josh Romick, Service Manager at Willis Lexus. We have our popular Spend More and Save More with up to a 25% discount on services over $1,000. And don't forget about our Lexus Tire Price Match Promise. Find the right tire at the right price. We'll match any advertised price on tires. If you'd like to schedule, give us a call or visit us online at willislexus.com. Have a happy Valentine's Day.
Not too many places hit all the right notes. But when it comes to great atmosphere and delicious scratch-made food, Truman's is the name to know. Game days are for Chiefs fans, but every day is for the food fans. Truman's, get to know us by name.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
It's a new way of listening to the radio. You can do it at therushradio.com. Just hit that listen live button. And we'll be streaming right into your car, your smartphone, your computer. You can also listen and watch us on YouTube. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. Good to have you along on a Friday. Week flew right on by. I was talking to my wife last night. I said, can you believe... It was a week ago we were in Santa Fe, and the older you get, the faster time goes. Time just plays really weird tricks on you, man. It's just like the days are long, but the weeks and years and months are fast. Really, really, really fast.
Time is weird. It's a strange phenomena that you experience, man. And like yesterday, I had a chance to chat with a couple of kids that. They were doing a high school project, Travis, like a super cool thing. They do this thing called Two Rivers Classical Academy. I'd never even heard of it. It's like it's kind of like a homeschool thing, but it's not homeschool. These kids were doing stuff that I wish I'd been doing in high school. So they were simulating their first home buying process. They were doing this thing in their class right now where each month was simulating a year of their adult life. So they were given a modest income. The two young men that I talked to, one of them was 25. Again, they're both 16-year-old kids, juniors. But one of them was, in our scenario, he was 25, renting with his buddies, and had $10,000 in the bank. Was pre-approved for $140,000. The next kid was pre-approved at 140, 25 years old, married with 2 kids. So we simulated what that would be like, trying to find a 3-bedroom home in Des Moines for $140,000.
Not easy.
It's very difficult. And what you're going to walk into with that. What you need to have in the bank in order to get to that point with earnest money. You know what I mean? So just stuff that at 16 I kept stopping myself over and over and going, you're learning about this stuff when it's the stuff that when we got out of school, every one of us at one point in time stood around and went, why didn't they teach me this?
Well, I would make the argument, and I've seen it with all my kids, that financial literacy is not something that is spent a lot of time on in schools. I think it's getting better, but I came out kind of stupid when it came to financial literacy. My son's a lot better at me than investing. I'm a horrible investor, meaning I don't invest, meaning I'm going to work until I die because a Social Security check's probably not going to cover me.
Or
my son's or be there at all. You know, Owen has stocks. He's got all this stuff. He's checking his like E-Trade account all the time. I'm like,
good
man,
for him.
I wish I was.
Dude, this is on me. I need to do a better job of putting those tools in my kids' hands because, not that my parents failed me at all. I had a great childhood, but this is something that I just didn't. I'm not money smart like you. I'm just and so I need to put those tools in Eli's hands.
I'm not money dumb, but I'm not. I haven't learned the value of compound. I know about compound interest. I just haven't taken the time to invest in it.
I know you want to get to the Iowa State game, and you've got other things you want to get to. We had a quick conversation the other day that led me into a really fun rabbit hole. That led me to a conversation with Stan Reynolds, Brooks's brother.
Okay.
So, remember, my dad had a big procedure earlier this week. I didn't talk about it at all, but he had some scary stuff happening, and I was a little bit worried about it. And I talked to Travis about what was going on, and in that conversation, Travis said, "Well, which hospital is your dad at?" And I told him, and then I said, "Well, Travis, there's really only 2 in Des Moines that people go to." Travis was like, "Wait a minute, there's like 7 in Omaha." Like, wait, we're the insurance capital of the world. How do we have 2 successful hospitals and Omaha has 7? I'm going to get to the bottom of this. So I called Brooks and I said, "Hey, I don't know that you're the guy to answer this question, but something told me to buzz you because of the insurance thing in my head. What's going on? What am I missing here?" And he says, "I'm not the guy to answer it. My brother is. Call Stan."
Yeah, if you want to know about food and delicacies, Brooks is your guy. And travel tips.
Yeah. Travel tips, exactly. So I called Stan and had an excellent like one of my all-time favorites about the healthcare industry in Des Moines, which, by the way, he did one of my favorite things. I kind of laid out the entire thing for him, and he did one of my favorite things. He said, I'm gonna reject the premise of what you're talking about here. The healthcare system in Des Moines is not in trouble. You don't only have 2 successful hospitals. You have more than you think, and the biggest thing that you're not thinking about with Omaha and their 7 hospitals and Des Moines and their 2 is population density.
True.
And that's really what it is. And then we had this great conversation about the healthcare industry, insurance industry, all sorts of wonderful things. And what sprung that in my head was part of that conversation was Stan talking about these making money work for you. You know, that these are things you've got to do to make sure that that your money's working for you. And he says those things. I'm like, oh, yeah, I never think of that. I was never taught that.
I know you've been a big fan over the years of, maybe robots or something calling balls and strikes when it comes to baseball. And we're going to see it a lot more in spring training this year as the ABS system is being launched. It's being used in AAA. It's been used in some spring training games before. We're going to start seeing it at the Major League Baseball level yesterday. Ross, Cody Poteet was on the mound for the Cubs against the Dodgers, a game the Cubs won 12-4, but we had our first challenge. And if you see here, Poteet tips his hat, and that calls for the review because it was called a ball. The camera dives in, they look at it, and they overrule it. So the umpire was wrong. And I like this.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, this is kind of that tennis view of it to where it gives you a much better idea of where the baseball landed in the zone. Teams are allowed 2 challenges per year or per game, and if you lose the challenge, you lose your next challenge. I like this. I don't like a computer calling it every single pitch. I like the human aspect of it, but I also like the challenge of it.
A plus. This is and look, he doesn't have to go back, and there's no big ceremony that used to happen. Remember what they used to do where it was like they had to stop the game, and the 70-year-old 290-pound umpire had to run from second base, and he had to do the fake run. Remember where he'd look like he was running, but his fat ass was just walking to home plate so that he could go back there and put on the headphones, and then he'd get in and do the big emphatic theatrical.
Yes.
Thanks for wasting 20 minutes. That's how it should be done. Okay. Oh, I think you got that one wrong. Can we check that? Here's the eye in the sky, down to the umpire. Yep, overturned. Here we go. Turns out I got that one wrong. Let's go, boys.
It took each challenge takes about 15 to 20 seconds. That's not unreasonable.
That's how it should.
Yes.
Again, it always could have been this way. It always could have been this way. The I think it's I almost said gamma ray, but that's not right.
For tennis?
No, their ability to electronically monitor a strike zone. I mean, guys, how long have we had the pitch zone thing on Fox?
A long time.
That's how long. Again, I just had a conversation yesterday with my buddy Raleigh Rubin King, who was one of our engineers at the radio station. Brilliant man. His son was a baseball pitcher, pitched in college. 15 years ago, Raleigh was telling me, hey, by the way, the technology totally exists for them to call balls and strikes electronically. You could even put a buzzer in an umpire's pocket, and when a ball goes through the strike zone, it buzzes in his pocket. And if it misses the zone, it doesn't buzz, and he knows it was a ball. That was 15 to 20 years ago that stuff was there. And baseball instead decided, because I'm convinced they didn't want replay. The unions were fighting. They thought that the umpires were going to lose their jobs. And so in an effort to save those few jobs that didn't even end up going away, they stood in the way of progress, which could have looked like this 20 years ago.
I think what impressed me the most about that is that Poteet knew instantly it was a strike. I mean, he did not hesitate. It was like, oh, I'm going to challenge this one. I know for a fact that was a strike, and he was right.
How many times have you seen a pitcher react on the mound, right? Throws a pitch, doesn't get the call, or catcher too. Here's a great tell that an umpire missed a call. Catcher catches the ball, goes to throw and pauses because he's expecting that strike call. Catches it, or like you see kind of like a coil from the catcher, like, oh, he missed that call. Can't say anything because of this stupid unspoken rule that if I say, hey, I think you missed that call, then the umpire goes, oh, okay, well, you're not getting the next one either. Good luck.
Now I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I never want the computer to make every single call. But that's the traditional.
I'm with you.
And that's why I like
either, but they could assist in every call.
Fair. But teams right now are only given 2 challenges.
And that's dumb.
Here's what I think. Is that you start with 2 challenges. But if you challenge and the call is overturned, you get to keep the challenge, right? You don't lose any challenges.
Yes. Yeah, you get to be wrong twice. I'm with you on that, Trav. I like that. I like that.
Because I think there's got to be a negotiation here. There's going to be some people like, well, don't even have a home plate umpire, But I'm not for that. I do like the human aspect, but I'm like, okay, if I do a challenge and it's overturned, I still have my 2 challenges. Yeah. If you use all yours and if your 2 go away, well, then you're screwed. You know the rules. But all you have to do is watch that Greg Maddox documentary and know that these guys are. You listen to Bonds and you listen to Maddox. These guys have played so much baseball. They know it's so. They know from a windup, from everything of what's coming and where things are at.
That Maddox documentary, I had no idea. They called that guy the professor, and we all should have known then. If other major leaguers are calling this guy the professor, he must be a different breed. I had no idea. Dude, that thing of setting up Jeff Bagwell like 6 months in advance.
I mean, you're thinking long term.
How he's 60 years old and can remember the pitch sequence of an at-bat and why he went from pitch to pitch. Or what? How did they do that? They would show him a pitch and he would say, okay, well, if I threw that pitch, then I... What?
You know, baseball's one of those interesting sports because you look at Greg Maddox and he doesn't fit your prototypical pitcher for today who they just want you to throw gas, right? If Greg Maddox was still the Greg Maddox that he was 30 years ago, he would still be a dominant pitcher in Major League Baseball. He wouldn't need to throw 99 miles an hour to be dominant because he was so good at his craft that he carved hitters up like they were a piece of meat, right? I mean, do you agree with that to where Greg Maddox would be successful today?
You're nailing it.
Because
it's
in football,
it's the old thing of it's the difference between throwing and pitching. And that dude was a pitcher. Now Greg Maddox. Let's to bring it back to the electronic strike zones. There will never be a guy that gets to do what Greg Maddox did again. Because remember, Greg Maddox was famous for taking that 17.5-inch plate, and by the end of his outing, it was 24 inches. Because he'd hit that corner, and then he'd hit that corner, and then he'd hit that corner, and he would slowly, over the game, take that umpire's eye and stretch it. It was a magic trick. And just like a catcher, a great catcher could frame a pitch. That art is gone. It's gone. You might fool the umpire in that moment, but now with the electronic strike zones, they're going to be able to say, wait a minute, I want to challenge that.
Tap that hat. Tap that hat. But you better be right.
This is great. I think Cole, I love what Cole has presented here. Can you put that comment on the screen from Cole here, the last one? Refs should get to do some kind of dance, home run trot style, if the call is upheld. They deserve to celebrate when they're right. That would be amazing.
Because they're talking under their breath, right? It's like they challenge. Yeah. He probably saw that, and that home plate ump is like, screw you, man.
Yeah.
Screw you.
That was a ball.
Don't you question me. Don't you question me.
That would be great if it turned a ball, and he's like, damn right, ball. Damn right. Who's got this? Who's got this? Whose house is this?
Because that's what they're thinking inside. That's what they're thinking.
They go, what was the Pete Weber, the bowler?
The bowler?
Who do you think you are? I am.
He made bowling interesting. Yes.
And for the next 7 seconds, we will mic up the umpire. Yeah, I heard all you guys booing about me. Don't think I can't hear you back here. Who got that call right? Say it. Say my name. Say my... Thank you.
And baseball umpires would be a perfect one for that. I mean, it was just awesome. We did have a scary moment in that Cubs-Dodgers game yesterday, and I don't know if you saw Bobby Miller. Watch this. Boom, right off the head.
I hate
that went right off the noggin. That was going like
a heads up that was about to happen.
100. Had you not seen that yet? That the bat speed, that left the bat at about 115 miles an hour when it hit him in the head. Here's another angle of it.
Jeez,
boom. You don't want to see it? Hey, he walked off. He's fine. He's fine.
Safe space. Can you create a safe space next time?
No, this show is not a safe space.
No, it's not. You're right about that.
This show has never been a safe space, and it will not be a safe space. I don't believe in safe spaces.
I'm glad he got up and walked away because that's super scary, man. Super scary.
Do you ever think we see a day, because, in college softball, pitchers now wear a face mask to protect their face. Do you ever think we see a day in Major League Baseball to where they wear some kind of protection? Or would pitchers be like, no way? Because if you went to most hockey players right now, it's mandatory they have the shield. Most of them don't want to wear a shield. In college hockey, you got to wear a full cage. And in the NHL, you got to wear a shield. And most of them don't like that. They'd rather just wear a helmet with no face protection whatsoever. But pitchers are throwing harder, And what's going to happen is it's going to leave the bat.
That's pitchers are throwing
faster.
harder, dudes are swinging harder.
Yes.
Everybody's focused on how they can get the higher exit velocity, and that will continue to figure out tricks and little things to get that exit velocity higher and higher and higher. Man, I don't think so though, Trav, because imagine trying to pitch with something like that attached to your face. And I know in softball.
And it's just a cage in softball. I don't think they're wearing a lid. It's just that they've got like a face
like
mask.
A cage. And think about the movement of a pitcher's head in softball. I mean, it kind of has a linear plane going forward. In a baseball windup, it's just a lot more of a violent. It seems to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't think you'd be able to. I can't imagine a pitcher wanting to wear something like that, but at the same time.
Well, and here's why. We've talked about this before, and this was on one of the revisionist history podcasts that you got me into. Wilt Chamberlain was one of the worst free throw shooters of all time, right? I mean, but the one couple games where he was tremendous, and I mean absolutely tremendous, he shot his free throws underhand, and he was very successful at it. But why did he stop shooting underhand, even though he was successful?
True story. True story. The reason he quit doing it, even though it worked, he looked funny.
But his words were, he looked like a sissy.
Yeah. He thought that people would make fun of him if he continued to do it. The greatest basketball player of all time, scoring 100 points a game, was worried about people saying what he looked like on the free throw line. Dude was banging like 14 women at halftime. And he was worried about what people were going to say that he was a sissy as he was at the free throw line. The male ego.
But that's why hockey players don't want to wear a shield. That's why you'll never see pitchers say, I'm going to wear a face mask.
You're right.
It is a male bravado ego thing. And I guarantee you there's parts of our life right now that if they asked us to do something, we'd be like, no.
All of us are doing something because it's a societal norm. That's what that whole podcast is. Yeah, the big man can't shoot. It was the name of it. And it's a revisionist history, season 2 or something like that. But it's really about how we will try something outside of the box. It'll work. We'll be like, hey, I've hacked it. I figured this thing out. And you'll look around, you'll go, hey, everybody, I figured this thing out. Check this out. And if other people don't say, yeah, you figured it out. Let's do it this way. If other people look at it and go, which we all do. We all look at something new and go, you'll take your shiny new thing and go, oh, sorry. Yeah, you guys are right. Yeah, we were doing it this way, right? This is how we were supposed to do it? I wasn't supposed to hold my shiny ball up in the air. I'm supposed to get in line and do the things that all you guys are doing. Okay, am I doing it right now? My favorite part, and we've talked about this a lot, but my favorite part of that every sports fan knows is that the Redskins hired these dudes to come in and like Moneyball football.
Commanders.
They said, hey,
what's
that?
Commanders.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Washington's team owners came in and said, break this thing down. What are we doing wrong? This is like late 90s. And these guys come back and they say, all right, here's what you're doing. You guys are overvaluing first-round draft picks. Everybody's paying these top guys billions of dollars, and then they don't pan out. And then you got all these 5th and 6th round draft picks that, hell, you could stack up 6th-round picks for a first-round pick. Load your roster with all these guys, pay them next to nothing. Several of these guys are going to be good. You need to stop paying the first-round picks, and you need to start loading your roster with 5th and 6th round guys. And the Redskins and Dan Snyder said, you're crazy. But one NFL team in the late 90s listened to that. They were the New England Patriots.
And look what happened to the Patriots.
They were willing to be an outlier. They were willing to step out and go, all right, we're going to take that and we're going to quit trading up. And we're going to start selling those top picks for later picks and gamble on a bunch of these dudes rather than one or two of them. And anyway, it takes guts.
515-517-2303. The phone lines are open. Happy Friday. We'll tell you where we want you to go this weekend because you're going to see something really cool. But we got an hour in the books. We got an hour to go. Good to have you along this morning on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bobby here at Land Rover Des Moines. Just wanted to say it's February, so I invite you to come in and fall in love with a Land Rover. We've got over 43 of them in stock and 2.9% financing on select vehicles. You'll never find a better time to fall in love with something just like this. So call, click, or visit us at LandRoverDesMoines.com or stop down in the showroom and see one in person. You'll be glad you did.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make. Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's $25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage and Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage and Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage and Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Hi, I'm John Linares, sales manager at Willis Lexus, and this month we're going to help you find your perfect match. Stop out and see us. We've got great inventory of NX and NX Hybrid, TX, and ES. We have more inventory arriving daily, and this month Lexus has also brought back the very popular 42-month lease. Stop out and see us or visit us online at willislexus.com.
The largest selection of German beer in the world, you'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, give this video a like, set your notifications, and also follow us on X, like our Facebook page, and follow us on the Instagram. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. Good to have you along on a Friday.
Good to be along on a Friday.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Better
Big
than
closing day for you?
Closing day today. Yep, helping out a friend that I grew up with. The guy I played like Salvation Army basketball with him as a little kid. He was on my team when we were like 8, and I'm helping him move into a beautiful new home. So that's super exciting day.
What do you give your buyers? So do you like send them a pie? Do you give them a bottle of wine?
So it all depends, Travis, on the client, right? And kind of if I know their interests or something like that. If they're moving to town, I like to get them like an array of gift cards for local businesses. So like in Altoona, I've got a bunch of locally owned and operated businesses that I go to, and I buy gift cards for them. If you're coming to Des Moines, I usually get a bunch of like full court press stuff. And I don't call Bruno and say, Bruno, can you hook me up? I go and buy it for him. But then when I'm selling somebody's house, what I really give them is a big chunk of their money back. So instead of giving them a couple $100 in gift cards, I charge them less to sell their house, and then they end up making, $4,000 more on their proceeds. And my gift to them is, hey, I'm not going to buy you any Chotsky stuff because I've saved you a whole bunch of money selling your house. Now, when I help you buy a home, that's when it comes, you're going into something new. And so I want to get something for them to just say, thanks for using me and letting me help you out. So anyway, that's...
So you mentioned...
Cole, I'm going to use Cole's. Cole's got a great gift idea. I give them peace of mind and a beautiful new home.
That's what Ross does. He's a closer. He's a peace of mind guy. Nothing says peace of mind more than Ross Peterson does.
I do appreciate when, at the end of a transaction, when people say, like, the best compliment I ever got was a young lady that said to me at the end of it, Ross, you're a really admirable man. It's like, oh, that's the best compliment I've ever had. But the one that I get a lot that I love is I don't get nervous when I see your name pop up on my phone. Like a lot of people, I see their name and I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk to this person. But I see your name and I'm like, oh, Ross is calling. I'm like, yeah.
What's great is if you're not programmed into my phone, I have a Google Pixel phone, and it goes straight to a Google Assistant, which screens the call for me. So it's like, hey, this is a Google Assistant. We do not recognize this number, so therefore leave. So I get to see who's calling before, and most time it's spam, so it just hangs up on them.
Yeah.
You mentioned the full court press establishments. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here, and I have a challenge for everybody listening to the show this morning. Go to El Bait Shop or High Life Lounge this weekend, because your drink most likely will be placed on a Rush koozie.
Coaster.
A coaster. Yeah, a coaster. And I think you can take the coaster with you. They're kind of like, they're collector items. They're like baseball cards, right?
So,
what I want you to do,
ask me about the stickers, and then now we're going to have people ask me about the coasters. Can we just pick those up at El Bait and High Life?
I believe so. I know they got in yesterday. There's a limited edition. You can't buy a box set. But what I want you to do is, and this is a challenge, and I'll retweet it. Follow us at Rush Mornings. Go to El Bait Shop or High Life Lounge. Get yourself a beer or whatever you like to drink. And if you are using a Rush coaster, I don't know why I'm getting them confused. Take a picture of your drink on the Rush coaster, and I'll give you a retweet, because I think that's really cool. It has a little QR code to the website. You can listen live. You know what we really do need, though? We need some merch. People want some hats.
Well, did you see the email that came out about that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's just say we have a very interested partner, a friend of the program, a guy who listens, who owns a local T-shirt shop that's quite successful and does a good job with unique marketing.
Just as long as we don't have to keep an inventory.
At low cost to us, we got a guy.
What? Why'd you wink on the low cost to us? You're not a good winker.
That turn you on? That doesn't do it for you?
Tyler says, for 3 easy payments, you can buy a Rush coaster. No, I believe they're free. Now, they're not free because we want you to buy a beer at El Bait Shop or High Life Lounge.
Yeah. Don't just go in and be like, hey, can I take some of your koozies?
Yeah.
No, we don't have koozies. Travis said you guys had Rush koozies.
They're coasters. Coasters.
Hey, so somebody put in the chat that they saw our posters up in Hilton.
Really? That means somebody put them up. That means somebody went rogue and decided to be a rebel and just put it up. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, might need to see photo evidence of that to
Yeah.
believe that exists. Because if it did, then one of you went guerrilla.
Yeah, went total guerrilla, and we are okay with that. We are perfectly okay with that. I know they've been in some Jimmy John's around town, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So go get a free Rush coaster at El Bait Shop or High Life Lounge, and they look high quality. I mean, I saw a picture of them yesterday. I was like, damn, these are nice. And what people will do, they'll put the beer on my face, and they'll keep Ross's face from getting the.
I don't think the
sweat
coaster's
ring.
that big. I don't think you're going to get to choose.
You don't think so?
No, your drink's going to cover both faces. Mazer's onto it, man. Have you ever seen the movie, I think it's called I Love You, Man?
I Love You, Man.
It's got Paul Rudd. It's got, I can't think of any of the other famous actors that are in it because there's not really that many famous actors. Lou Ferrigno is in it, ironically.
Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk.
And it's one of the characters is a real estate agent. In fact, Paul Rudd is a real estate agent, and he's selling Lou Ferrigno's house. But one of the characters that's another real estate agent comes up to him one day, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing for marketing?" And he's like, "Oh, I send out some postcards, and I'm doing some stuff like that." And he's like, "Oh, dude, you're not doing urinal cakes?" And he's like, "What? Urinal cakes?" He's like, "Yeah, if you have pissed at a Chili's or Applebee's in the Tri-County area in the last 2 months, this is my face you're pissing on."
Do we need urinal cakes? Do we take that to Choice Creative and say, hey, what do you think of urinal cakes?
Yeah, Taylor's right. It's Jason Segel is another guy in that movie. It's a fun movie. Taylor, am I right? Is it I Love You, Man?
Dude, I pissed on that guy's face at Bennigan's. Do you need to be splitting the commission with that frosty-haired chode?
Because there's another one I use in the office a lot, and it's so creepy, and some people don't understand it, which makes it even more creepy. But the creepy agent who's got the urinal cakes comes to Paul Rudd, and he's like, "Hey man, I think I should that Ferrigno house. I think you should split that listing with me. I don't need to split the commission with you. Just let me wet my beak a little bit." Let me wet my beak. So when it's dry and one of the guys is like, "Oh yeah, man, I got a nice closing coming up." I'm like, "Oh, anything I can do to wet my beak a little bit on that?" Like, what? Did you say wet my beak? That's creepy.
Did you watch any of the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special?
Man, I watched the first bit of the actual show. I didn't see much of the live. I guess they did I've seen one clip of Will Ferrell singing the Kendrick Lamar song.
Okay.
And then the actual 3-hour SNL 50, I've seen maybe the first 10 minutes of it, but I really am interested. I really want to see it.
I thought Adam Sandler was the best. He wrote a song for the 50 years, and Sandler's so good, and you got a good appreciation for him. I thought Sandler was probably the best. I'm about 2 hours through it. I got the last hour to go, so I don't know what I've missed. But as far as that last hour, but so far through the first 2 hours, it was. I wouldn't say it was overly funny. There was some good stuff in there. I've seen better stuff over the years, but it's funny how they all mock Lorne Michaels and how stressful it is to work at Saturday Night Live. I mean, every one of the skits was kind of picking on Lorne and being stressful of like, oh my God, is my skit going to go on? Adam Sandberg had a, is that his name, Adam Sandberg?
Andy
Sandberg.
Yeah, who I like a lot.
Had a song, that's the age difference between us, right?
Yeah.
Is that? But he had a good song about everybody who's worked on Saturday Night Live had anxiety.
Oh, I saw that one.
Yes.
So I got that far into it. I saw that clip. See, one of the things I was disappointed in, though, Trav, like they had all of these. I mean, you have every star on the planet.
Anybody who's ever, you were invited if you've hosted the show or if you were on the show. Now, Dan Aykroyd didn't. Yeah, so the only people in the crowd besides the wives were the people who have hosted the show or who were actually on the show. Now, Bill Hader didn't go. Dan Aykroyd did not go. There were other ones.
Did you know why they weren't there? Because Bill Hader was one that I noticed that they didn't, when he was like a noticeable absence to me. So I got so far as Weekend Update, and they were bringing in some of those classic Weekend Update characters. Drunk uncle, girl you wish you'd never talked to at a party, and it was really fun. And I kept waiting for Stefan, the greatest SNL cameo of that era. And when he didn't show up, I was like, I wonder where Bill Hader is. Do you know why he and Dan Aykroyd didn't come?
I think Aykroyd put out a tweet that said, congratulations to everybody. It was just fun to watch it with his grandkids on TV and got to appreciate it all. Sometimes, actors, comedians, performers, they're a different breed, right? And sometimes you just don't want to be around it. You're just like, you know what? I've been there, done that. Don't need to relive it.
Yeah,
which is too bad for fans, but I respect the decision. Tom Hanks did an intro to one, and he was right. He goes, they kind of showed some of the old politically incorrect stuff that the early shows did. He's like, you'd be canceled today, but let's be honest, you all laughed at it, and you still laugh at it because it's funny, right? I mean, you go back and watch those from 75 to even through Eddie Murphy up through the 90s, there was a lot of politically incorrect stuff where you're just like, oh, this is cutting edge stuff. It's funny, but yeah, it's worth a watch.
Okay, I'll try to get through it.
Yeah, yes. Iowa State's going to be on the road this weekend, going to play Houston. ESPN's College Game Day is going to be in Houston for this one. You have two of the hottest teams in college basketball, especially in the Big 12 right now. Houston's won 5 in a row. Iowa State's won 4 in a row. Houston has the home court advantage. Also talking about the best defensive team in the Big 12. Trying to create a little space here in the Big 12. They're looking for their 15th conference win. This team is good. I mean, you're going to watch high-level NCAA tournament, like Elite Eight, Final Four caliber basketball tomorrow. I shouldn't guarantee that, but this is what it's setting up to.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Because we do. I mean, hell, a couple years ago when these two teams met in the tournament, Iowa State blew the door, and we were all looking forward to that game. Remember, it was like, this can be a great game, and Iowa State beat them by 20, didn't they?
I forget what the score was.
Remember in the Big 12 tournament?
Yes.
But anyway, and Houston was supposed to be a great game. Iowa State ended up blowing them out. That'd be fun to see on this weekend. That'd be really cool. I think though you didn't oversell it there, Travis. Unless one of those things happens, I guess we've seen Iowa State kind of stub their toe on the road, but not at full strength. And they're playing really good basketball again.
That's what I like about this game. Both teams are at full strength, right? Yeah. Milan's back. Obviously, has made a huge difference because when they kind of stumbled there, it was without Milan. You bring him back. They're at full strength and running all cylinders. But so is Houston, which makes it
I think
even more intriguing game.
Fair to say this is a Final Four type of level basketball game. Both of these teams have the pedigree to make a Final Four run. Somebody in the chat earlier, and again, I apologize. I should write these things down as I see them because I want to reference them again. And I want to give credit to the person that said it. This is a game that could, if Iowa State wants to get back into that 1-2 seed conversation, win this one, that launches you back into that conversation.
100%. Because Houston will be probably a number 1 seed, or it could be whoever like wins this game. But you've got a lot of basketball left to play. You've got the Big 12 tournament to go through. I think it would put you back at least in the 2 seed conversation, because in the committees, like top 16, they're a 3 seed. Going up to number 1 is going to be difficult, but right now you can still get on that 2 line. I think you can, which makes this weekend even more intriguing.
And again, these are not fatal conversations that we're having here. It's not like, if you don't get to that 2 line, you came this close. No, it's all right. If you don't get to the 2 line, you're at 3, and then you're gonna play a 2 on your way to the Final Four. But we all know this math. It does make things a little bit easier. You can lighten your load a little bit with some wins like this, and it's nice to see your team get that national recognition. And every year that Iowa State continues to be in this conversation of, are they a 1, a 2, or a 3, or a 4? Every year that you're perennially in that conversation moves you closer and closer and closer to those Gonzaga, North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky. Now, you're not there. Iowa fans are hearing this going, I can't be said that. Iowa State's good as Duke. No. What I'm saying is, this is how it starts. I remember when I didn't know what Gonzaga was. I didn't know where Gonzaga could have been in Utah or South Carolina or Oregon or Maine. I had no idea. Now, Iowa State, you know where Iowa State is, but more importantly, people will know where Ames is, and people will understand who TJ Otzelberger is, and it will change the reputation and recognition of Iowa State. In November, people will start to look at them differently. If you continue this you're getting close to inching into those conversations.
Ryan asks, when's TJ going to recruit high school kids to develop, or is he just good at getting kids to the portal? How about both? Taman Lipsy, high school kid. Milan Momcilovic, high school kid. You in today's college basketball, you have to be able to do both. You're not going to be able to consistently have a consistent, as I use the word consistent twice, program.
Consistent.
Yeah, to be consistent, you have to do both. You have to pull some out of the portal, but you have to be able to develop. And I think TJ's developing high school kids, right? I mean, there's proof in the pudding right now in Iowa State's team that have come from the high school ranks.
In 2025 in college, Division I college basketball, your window with these young athletes is so small, it doesn't matter if you're getting them from high school or from the portal. I love Ryan's point here, and this is something that a lot of us in Iowa are still of that mindset of like, man, recruit Iowa kids, give Iowa kids the chance, develop Iowa kids. But this is how, if you're going to compete at that level, you got to go after the best talent in the world that's available in the world that's available for that year. And you have to do that every year. You've got to reevaluate every position on the roster and try to get the best player in the world available to you, to your level of basketball at that time. And so whether it's a high school kid, develop is not a thing.
Well, you want Taman Lipsy has developed over time. I mean, he's getting better every year. Milan's getting better. So that's developing. You're still taking those kids from the high school ranks and developing them. I don't think you can be consistently in that top four if you're only using portal kids every single year.
Yeah.
And this goes for every team out there. I mean, look at Kentucky. I mean, look at Arkansas with John Calipari.
Yes, but what I'm saying, Trev, when I think of development, I'm thinking of a guy that comes in, maybe like a Kingsbury, comes in as a walk-on, develops his way up, eventually gets a scholarship, starts to get some playing time. That can exist if you're going to be the 15th ranked team in the Big Ten. You can develop players. Taman Lipsy was not developed, and I'm not knocking on TJ here, but Taman Lipsy did not develop at Iowa State.
No, I know what you're saying. I guess you and I are looking at it two different ways.
Yeah.
And so
and again, Tyler's. I understand they've got great coaching. Kyle Green's an amazing assistant coach. They're teaching these guys. You're not. What I'm saying is, you've got to get these guys that are super talented. You can't. There's no project kids anymore. You can bring them in and put them in front of a Kyle Green, and he can fine tune that amazing athletic ability and talent. And that's developing. Sure, that is. What I'm saying is this idea of, man, if we could recruit a kid from high school, and by the time he's a senior, he's going to be a Luka Garza.
Okay.
You can't do that if you're going to be one of these top programs.
Let me reframe it, because this just popped into my head, because I think you can use Ben McCullum in this. And I think you can use Fran McCaffrey, even though he's not having the success that Drake and Iowa State are. When it comes to developing these high-level players, Taman Lipsey's a high-level player.
Yeah.
Milan Momcilovic is a high-level player. Developing is getting them to play within your system, because you'll find a lot of guys that are tremendous athletes, tremendous basketball players that just don't fit a system. And sometimes the coach takes the heat of not being able to develop that talent. Well, sometimes talent does not want to mold within the system that works. Iowa State players obviously fit TJ's system.
Yeah, that's a great point, to get them to do that. And again, you got to recruit the right guys that are willing to do that are willing to buy in to your system. That's a good point.
Yes.
I guess I really am trying to tip a cap to TJ here. I'm not trying to knock and say that they don't develop or teach or anything like that. What I'm saying is, to be one of those teams that I see Iowa State ascending towards, you're not a developing program, you're not a development program. Somebody in the chat brought up Curtis Jones. That's a great example of a dude that did exactly what you're talking about, Trav. He's developed by buying into the system, becoming a team player, figuring out his role and how to maximize that and make the guys around him better.
Even if they go to Houston and lose tomorrow, that is not a bad loss. What you don't want is a blowout. But if you leave Houston with an L, that's not one you go, oh boy, that's gonna knock us down a notch or two. I think Iowa State is consistently going to be on that 3 line. Can they move up to a 2? 100%. But some good basketball. Again, ESPN's College Game Day. College Game Day, not something that we talked about it earlier in the week, is not something it's not like the football one. The football one is this different level. Basketball is like, yeah, I'm not going to take the time to watch that. I'm just going to watch the game, which is at 1 o'clock. And of course,
I mean, it's never, the basketball one has just never been, the first couple times it was in Ames, maybe not the first couple, because I don't remember the history of it, but I do remember a few times when it was in Ames, it was on my radar, and I'd wake up and I'd watch it and looking for friends or, whatever that was. I have not watched the College Game Day in a long, long time.
Yeah. And I think what you just said, you're looking for people and you're looking for the sights and sounds of Hilton Coliseum, Ames, and the, what are they going to show? Are they going to show cornfields all over the place? Are they going to show, the great campus life? That's kind of what you tune in for. When it's on the road, and you're like, okay, yeah, they're a part of it, but I don't need to see parts of Houston. All I know about Houston is the traffic sucks. Traffic's horrible. If you've ever driven in Houston, you're like, can I get out of the city any faster, please?
Are they going to have the obligatory reference to NASA? Houston, we have a basketball game.
I would recommend visiting NASA if you ever go. If you ever go to Houston, go to NASA. It's worth it. I've been once. Don't need to go again, but I've been. My brother lived in Houston for about 30 years before he packed up and moved to Portugal. Good place to go, Portugal.
I've been to Houston, but I feel like we were just in and out. I feel like I know we didn't go to NASA.
Did you fly into Houston Hobby Air?
Didn't fly in, drove in.
Ooh.
And then drove to San Antonio.
Ooh.
And went to the Alamo.
one of the more disappointing sights.
That and
the Alamo.
climbing the Statue of Liberty. The two of the things that I was like, as a kid, so excited about getting the opportunity to do. You get to the Alamo, it's across the street from a McDonald's. I'm not even kidding. If you stand in the front door of the Alamo and turn around, at that time, it was like a McDonald's and a Gap across the street. It's in the middle of town, of downtown. And then climbing the Statue of Liberty was another one, dude. I was so excited about that. Like, this is going to be so cool. It's not as high as the Arch, I don't feel like. And you get up there and you're up there for like seconds.
And I think the Arch is boring too. It's like you ride the little roller coaster up, you look out the window, and you go, yeah, but you're like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Clark Griswold at the Grand Canyon. Okay, kids, let's go.
All right.
515-517-2303. It's the Rush Radio Show presented by Willis Automotive.
Oh, boy.
That's right, Brian. It's tailgate season, and Central City's got everything a good tailgate needs.
We have all the beer,
All the good party drinks.
And don't forget the White Claw.
hot dogs, brats, and chips.
Kegs and eggs.
And if you fill up your cooler with beer from Central City, we'll throw in the ice for free. By the way, what team is this supposed to represent?
All the teams, Brian. All the teams. I don't discriminate. Tailgate time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
Hey, I'm Mason out here at Mini of Des Moines, one of the motor advisors. Currently this month, Love is in the Air. We are doing a $1,000 mini loyalty on Countryman, $750 on all other models excluding the BEV. Also, we are doing a $500 Conquest cash on select models, so you do get a benefit even if you're not a Mini owner. So for more information, stop at our showroom, come see me. We're happy to get that information going, or see us on our Mini website, miniofdesmoines.com.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines, Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage & Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Thanks for making the switch. A new way to listen to a radio program at therushradio.com. Streaming 24 hours a day at the Listen Live link. You can also download the entire show on your favorite podcast channel. So make sure to do that. We're here Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. Ross, I know the Iowa State wrestling tournament is going on right now at Wells Fargo Arena, right? The Nebraska State wrestling tournament is going on as well. They do things a little bit different in Nebraska, and I just learned this yesterday that, you know, at the wrestling tournament, they got the mats are just kind of the same, right? I thought this was cool. I was talking to an athletic director in the state of Nebraska last night, and what they do, these mat companies go to high schools and say, hey, do you need a new mat? And they custom make the mat, and they give them a $5,000 rebate if you purchase a mat. Then they customize it, they use it for the state tournament, and then afterwards, they go and pick it up, and that's their mat. So they get a $5,000 rebate off a mat for being able to use it at the state tournament. And you don't have to pay shipping fees. You do have to go pick it up yourself, but it makes it a lot easier.
And Charlie is listening live and says that's apparently how the mats are for Iowa as well.
Are they?
And he says they flip them over. I didn't
know
idea.
that.
I don't have. How much is a wrestling mat?
$15,000.
Okay.
But if you do it this way, it's $10,000. Now, I did learn something, too, that mats have become so sophisticated that, you know, a lot of mats are, you know, the wrestling tape where you piece them together.
Velcro. A lot of them Velcro on
Yeah,
now.
a lot of them Velcro.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah. But
But
I
isn't
didn't
that one of the? In that, I thought that was. It's like the fat lady singing. You know what I mean? The end of a wrestling meet is the kid ripping the tape, making the great big ball of tape as he walks across the mat. I thought wrestling meets ended with coaches yelling at kids about the mats getting rolled up wrong. That's how they end.
They're a lot lighter now too. You used to walk into a lot of gyms, and I'm still there are some. They're just real heavy mats that they put on like these catapults.
Yeah, dude. They think of how many gyms. I mean, I was just in Johnston's gym the other day. Johnston's gym is designed for that. Grandview's gym is designed that way. It's a winch that can roll. The mat rolls up into this giant. It looks like it could carry a whale. And it comes out on the conveyor belt, lowers back down, they can roll it out. And if you don't have that, if you have to do it old school like at East High School, you had to have these giant 3-wheel carts that had the little V on them. You had to get the 30-member wrestling team all together because you had to lift the 9-ton wrestling mat onto the carts.
Now they're light. You can just like pick them up. They've changed so much. Now, somebody said they think 15,000's a lot. On the surface, yes, but you're also, if you're branding it and doing all that stuff, you know, you got to print on it. I don't think it's expensive, but I don't know if it's that expensive. It was actually probably cheaper than I thought it was going to be. But you can get yourself a nice used car somewhere for $15,000 too.
I know a place to start.
Yeah, Willis Automotive.
All right.
Willis Automotive. That's where I was looking at a Jeep Sahara today.
The wench thing that I'm talking about with the wrestling mats that we're all familiar with.
Yes.
That's the type of thing, that absolute garage. I was having a conversation with Marty yesterday. For $1,500, Travis, you can get 2 4x8 platforms in your garage that lower down, installed, $1,500, installed, 2 4-foot by 8-foot sheets that will drop down. You can load them up full of all your stuff, and then they go back up to the ceiling. You want to clear 64 square feet of stuff from your garage. You want to park a car in your garage again. You want to put a golf simulator in your garage. You want to have the kid take some swings off the tee in the garage. $1,500 and all of it's done.
$1,500 bucks. That's it.
Yeah. There's a quick pitch for and yeah, I learned so much about Absolute. They're amazing.
Iowa's going to be home tomorrow, so right after the Iowa State game will be the Iowa game at 3 o'clock on FS1, taking on Washington. And now that Northwestern went on the road last night, Ross, a 9.5-point underdog, beat Ohio State like a drum. And I mean beat Ohio State like a drum. It is a must-win for the Hawks tomorrow. And I know that's strong language just to make the Big Ten tournament. I mean, every game from here on out is almost a must-win situation. And they're going to be in that tomorrow against Washington just to make the Big Ten tournament.
Trav, if they don't make the Big Ten tournament, that's enough to tip the tide, right?
I would agree.
That's the straw
100%.
that breaks the camel's back. That's the drop that tips the bucket. Whatever analogy you want to use, that's enough for Beth Getz to say, we have to fire this guy. We got to pay him his buyout. We got to figure out what's next here for.
And
Iowa
it might,
and
I don't know.
Honestly, so does that mean beating Washington at home is enough to save this guy's job after this many years?
No, because even beating Washington at home does not mean you're going to make the Big Ten tournament. I mean that's the crazy point
specifically. But okay, is making the Big Ten tournament as the 15 seed? Is that really what is going to be enough for Beth Getz to go, all right, we'll give this one more year? Or is it inevitable? Are we at this, have we already, has the camel's back already been broken?
I think it comes down to, can they come to an agreement on the buyout? Because I don't think he's fired, or it won't come off as fired. I think if anything, it would be like, you know what?
Parting of ways.
A parting of ways. My son's going to go to Butler next year.
Kind of like I wasn't fired.
Yeah. And he's got a
asked
good
me to turn in
out.
my key card and stop taking paychecks.
But he has a good out, right? I mean, you can do what Tony Bennett did and all these guys who have gotten out of coaching to say, you know, the game's changing. And it probably takes a different person to live under these rules and regulations.
I think for Fran, it's easy. I think for Fran, this would be the best connection Fran can make to Iowa fans. And if I'm his PR guy, this is how the statement goes. I was a coach for my first two kids. I didn't get to actually enjoy it. I was a competitor. I want to go and watch Jack. I want to be a dad. For a short period of time, I want to see what that's like. I want to be a dad.
And I respect that.
I think that Iowans would hear that and go, good on you, Fran. What do we owe you?
I mean, because if you think to talk about it now is nauseating, it's going to be worse next year. Because people are going to expect big things. You get a reprieve, you're like, okay, we expect big things. We don't expect NITs. We don't expect 15 seeds in the Big Ten tournament. We expect NCAA tournament, and we expect an NCAA tournament win.
Yeah, exactly. We expect the NCAA tournament every year. The bottom of the barrel should be, the lowest end of the threshold of expectation should be that we're on the bubble. But every year in the conversation to be in the March tournament, and hopefully we get to that point where every year in the March tournament. Think of how quickly we're talking about the change at Iowa State. Where that was Iowa State for a long time. Iowa State was a team like that. Every year at the beginning of the year, it'd be like, man, if things go well, we're going to be competing for a conference title. But at least we're going to be in that. I mean, at least we're going to be in that conversation to be in March. And now, in a couple of years, they're in that conversation of, man, are they a 1? If they win this weekend, are they going to be a 2, 3? There's no chance they're not in the tournament. And you would, and nobody throughout the year, no expert would have said Iowa State's not in the tournament. That's where you want to get to that point, where the expectation is now not only get to the tournament, the expectation now starts to become, at the beginning of the year, what seed do you think we're going to be?
Yeah, are we a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6?
And Travis, I guarantee you, we still have a portion of our listeners who hear this and go, "You're talking about Iowa? What? You think you can win at Iowa? You're lucky. You're lucky this guy's got you at 15." There are people that really do believe that. You know what? Okay, go ahead. Go Tom Davis this situation. Screw it all up.
Be careful what you ask for. You just might get Todd Licklider again.
We got George comments, "I'm a student at Iowa." By the way, George, thanks a lot for listening. Greatly appreciate it, buddy. He says lots of other students are saying they won't even go to games until Fran is gone. Yeah. George, thanks for that comment. And a lot of people are saying that. Not just fans in general have been saying that for a long time. They've been showing it with their dollars. They've been showing it with their lack of attendance. They've been showing it with their apathy. They're done. They're done.
We're going to have to try to get Brad Heinrichs on next week because I'd like to know the NIL situation for basketball, right? And it's not like Iowa's NIL is rolling in the dough anyway.
No, but he did. Yeah, let's get him on because he actually wrote a thing. Did you see that thing he wrote for 24/7?
Oh, I did not.
It was pretty good, and he kind of broke down a lot of stuff. Dude, I would love to talk to him about some of that because he says in there he's actually paid some of this NIL stuff out of his own pocket.
Which doesn't surprise me because he's got a lot of money. And the only reason Brad's one of the most transparent, honest guys you'll hear.
Almost in that scary, uncomfortable. I mean, I really like being around him. Almost in that scary, uncomfortable way, like you can be sometimes, Trav. Like you're talking to him and you're like, "Oh crap, this guy's going to get me to tell my secrets."
Yes, because he gives secrets,
Yeah,
right?
Because he's open and honest, and hey, there's no reason to lie. Let's just talk about what's happening and how these conversations go, and yeah, that's how he's an actuary. Because he actually deals with the details.
He weighs risk and reward. We should ask him if you had to do your actuarial science on the NIL, would you have done it again? And he would because he's such a big Iowa fan.
Yeah, and
he feels obligated to do it.
It shouldn't be, and the universities need to quickly bring this thing in house.
Hey, did you see the Atlanta Falcons fan that was arrested? So there's the bird lady. I don't know if you've ever seen. She like wears wings and stuff. She comes off as the bird lady.
Super fan.
She's a super fan.
Yeah.
She was arrested because. Tell me if you've heard this story before. She was like selling tailgates to Falcon games, and like had pocketed $14,000-$15,000 for not delivering on the promise. Have you ever heard of somebody who made promises, tickets? And didn't fulfill the said promise, Marty Terrell?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
How do people fall for that?
Walk through me again. What she was selling tickets to a tailgate?
Tickets and tailgate. So it was like a tailgate experience,
but they were fake tickets, or it was just a thing that she had conjured out of her own.
Just things she conjured.
Wow.
I think you had. I want to believe that people start with the best of intentions. But then they realize, I took off more than I could chew. And then you realize, am I ever going to get caught doing this? And then you become corrupt.
Man, it's not often that I'm on the pessimist side of human nature with you. But, man, I do think that sometimes people go out with malicious intent.
That's fair.
That's fair. Sometimes people are just shitty humans. And
you think Marty was malicious?
I think this is not a fair conversation to have, okay? But you asked me the question, and I am not a doctor, but my gut tells me that there was something there was something mentally happening there. This is like whenever somebody does something that seems sociopathic or seems to be off of center from that moral compass. My instinct is they're just not thinking clearly. Obviously, that's not an opinion. That's a fact. They're not thinking clearly, and so something's off center with that. And this person could have been in that position where they were just not thinking clearly, and therefore you make some decisions that just make you a shitty person.
And it's a lesson.
You're not treating other people the way we're supposed to treat each other.
You know, and I learned the hard way when I bought the Owens tour van, right? I'm just never going to buy anything off Facebook Marketplace anymore. If it doesn't come from like, a dealer
dealership,
or actually from the organization that I'm just not going to buy it because I want that safety
putting
net.
Their reputation on the line. This is, again, over and over and over, these are things of locally owned, locally operated, family owned, family operated. Those are the places you should support because they ain't running anywhere. They're not. It's not an 800 number. It's somebody in town. It's somebody whose name means something to them, and they're going to stand behind it. And sometimes you get somebody who's just a bad actor in those roles.
All right, 515-517-2303. We're going to take our last break, come back, wrap up the week of shows right here on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Doug Burgess, Service Manager here at Willis Infinity. As we move into 2025, I want to say one final thank you for what 2024 has brought to us. Getting the opportunity to meet many of you customers, and for you, voting us the #1 Google-ranked dealership in the Midwest. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And to know why, and to have that Willis experience yourself, stop on in or go online to make your appointment at willisinfinity.com.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the Natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's Valentine's month and sweet deals are in the air. Hi, I'm Josh Romick, Service Manager at Willis Lexus. We have our popular Spend More and Save More with up to a 25% discount on services over $1,000. And don't forget about our Lexus Tire Price Match Promise. Find the right tire at the right price. We'll match any advertised price on tires. If you'd like to schedule, give us a call or visit us online at willislexus.com. Have a happy Valentine's Day.
Not too many places hit all the right notes. But when it comes to great atmosphere and delicious scratch-made food, Truman's is the name to know. Game days are for Chiefs fans, but every day is for the food fans. Truman's, get to know us by name.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com. We gave you some homework for the weekend. That means get down to High Life Lounge and El Bait Shop and get one of those Rush Radio Show coasters. Take a picture and then send it to us on X. We want to see you drinking your beer and placing your glass on a Rush coaster. Very simple. Very, very simple. Right?
Yeah. Weekend plans for you?
No. Pretty basic. I might do a little bit of work, but I don't really have anything planned. Anjanette's birthday is next weekend.
Nice.
Next week. So I got a text yesterday, hey, you going to do a party this weekend? I'm like, no. I'm like, I just took her to Santa Fe. She's going to Italy in 2 weeks.
I thought that was what you guys kind of did for Valentine's combo.
Yeah, this is Christmas, Valentine's, birthday, all wrapped up into one for both of us, right? It's like we're going to travel a little bit. So, yeah, did the Santa Fe thing, going to do the Italy thing, and then, so, we might go out to eat or something like that, but nothing big. Okay. Nothing big at all. While you're downtown, did you see the big Caitlin Clark banners?
I have not yet, no, but I knew that they were going up, or I saw some photos of people. I think I saw our buddy Tom Zamolik or somebody post a photo on
I know
Twitter.
Keith Murphy did too.
Yeah,
so
Murph, okay.
Murph did. But it gives Des Moines like that big city feel, right? Like that New York feel. You get the 4 or 5 story banner. You're like, man, that's really cool.
I don't think of it that way, but I
because you don't see those that often. First of all, they're really expensive. Just to go put a big old advertisement on a wall that's 5 stories tall, that's going to cost you some money, and Nike has the budget for that.
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And maybe you can clear this up, because I didn't see – I only saw, like, the cranes and the crew putting the thing up, the giant thing up. I didn't see the actual – what does it say?
It's just like her with a basketball with a Nike swoosh. It doesn't really have to say anything. You got the Nike swoosh, Caitlin Clark. You're like, I'm going to go buy some Nikes.
All right.
Very, very simple. Yeah, you ever notice that simple is a lot better? It's just sometimes simplicity can sell things.
I'm all for it. I love the Caitlin Clark hype. I love it. I'm not a Nike fan. I don't think they make a very good shoe. I think that it's grossly overpriced. They are wizards at marketing. Wizards. But again, back to the local owned and operated thing. I also see these huge budgets for marketing stuff trickling down to me. There's a reason my grocery bill is so high at Hy-Vee, and Patrick Mahomes and Caitlin Clark have stand-ups in every aisle.
And doing commercials for them.
And I as I'm pulling my $9 eggs off the cart, I go, well, good for Caitlin.
515-517-2303. Let's go to Adam. Adam, welcome to the Rush Radio Show. What's going on, Adam?
What's up, fellas? Hey, we all like free stuff around here. We know you can't do the penalty box. I did see somebody on here. What's that?
You can say it. It's all right. So go ahead. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry, guys. I seen somebody said we need the penalty box, but we can't do that. So I've seen somebody said the sin bin, and we all like free stuff around here. So when are we going to bring something back like that?
We're working on it. We got to make sure we get something consistent that we can give away. The show's still growing.
Give us some,
we haven't put a lot of time.
Highlight.
Yeah, we could come up with something. I could probably come up if you guys. We've had a lot of people say that. So obviously, you guys want to do something. We should be utilizing the phone line. Sin bin
phone line's there.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Sin bin is a fun one.
I like that one, Trevor.
Even with our bats.
Well, I'll let you guys linger on it this weekend.
All right. We'll do. Thanks, Adam.
Like the cursing, but we could be batshit crazy or something like that. We could.
I like that.
Thanks, Adam.
Well, you guys have a good weekend, though.
You too, buddy.
Thanks a lot,
Appreciate
buddy.
it. Thanks for listening.
Friday, remember, Trav, next Friday, I'm actually going to be at Willis.
That's right.
So that'd be a good place
Going on the road.
That'd be a good place to unveil. While we go on the road, not for the first time. Hell, we've already been damn
To
near
Santa
international.
Fe. Yeah. And we will be international for a couple times in March, which would be really, we hope. I hope all this stuff works. We're going to run over to your place to make sure we can get on the air, though. So
When are you coming over, by the way, so I can tidy up a little?
Probably next weekend. Okay. Just to let you know. So. All right there, Roscoe.
Fun week,
buddy. I want you to have a great weekend.
I'm having a fun Friday of running around for closing. So.
Well, that's good. That means you're going to have some money in your pocket. So take Courtney out for dinner.
Let's slow down.
Slow down, he says. Hey, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. For Ross Peterson, I'm Travis Justice. Thanks for listening to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.